Okay, so when I say the words brownfield site, what's the first thing that pops into your head? I'm guessing it's probably not a park or a cemetery or that path you love to walk your dog on. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a pretty amazing ecological story that's hiding in plain sight. And trust me, it's going to completely change how you see these everyday places.
Right, so first things first, we have to tackle this image that we all have. Because for most of us, brownfield site just conjures up something really specific and, let's be honest, kind of negative.
You know the scene, right? You're picturing neglect, decay, abandoned factories, piles of rubble, rusty fences. And yeah, some sites definitely look like that. But that image, it's just one tiny piece of a much, much bigger and surprisingly beautiful puzzle. And this is where it gets really, really cool. What if I told you that definition is way broader than you think? That it actually includes places you see every single day, places you walk right past without ever thinking twice about them. To really get what's going on in this hidden world, we need to look past that common, kind of gloomy label. You see, ecologists use a totally different term, one that opens up a much wider and way more interesting reality. They call it an open mosaic habitat. And here's the key. It's not about being derelict. It's all about human influence. These are simply places where something people did in the past created this unique patchwork, this mosaic of conditions that nature just loves to move into.
So let's just put these two ideas side by side. You've got the myth, the crumbling, abandoned factory. But the reality? Well, it's so much bigger. We're talking about parks we picnic in, the grassy strips along our roads, even old railway lines that are now these incredible green corridors. Now, to really see this in action, let's zoom in on a town in the UK called Sidmouth. It's the perfect place for this because it doesn't have any big, obvious industrial ruins. So it forces you to find these other kinds of brownfield sites, the ones that are hiding in plain sight. The team that surveyed the area came up with a really simple way to think about these sites. They sorted them into 3 groups based on how much people are involved: managed, maintained, and minimal. Let's look at an example of each, and we'll start with the one that might surprise you the most. Okay, so under managed, you've got places that are actively looked after, and this example is just perfect. Get this, the neatly mown lawn right next to a bowling green, a place you would never ever think of as wild, is actually a nationally important hotspot for these super rare and beautiful fungi called wax caps. Turns out, they love that regularly cut grass. Next up, we've got maintained sites. These are places where nature gets a bit more of a helping hand, and Sidmouth Cemetery is a fantastic example. It's anything but a sterile place. It's actually managed to be a haven for wildflowers and insects. Plus, its old hedgerows act as these critical green highways for bats and maybe even super rare dormice. And finally, minimal sites. This is where humans made the initial change, in this case, building a railway, but have pretty much stepped back and let nature do its thing. The Hartford Trailway, where trains once ran, has been totally reclaimed by nature. It's now this lush, green wildlife corridor that just thrives with very little help from us. So, okay, we've seen what these places are, but why? Why are they so darn good for wildlife? What is it about this human disturbance that actually creates such an amazing habitat? Well, the secret is in that patchwork we talked about. All those things that seem bad, like a bit of rubble or poor thin soil, are actually perfect for wildlife. That rubble creates warm, sunny spots for insects to bask in. The poor soil means that big, thuggish plants can't take over, which gives all these delicate wildflowers a chance to grow. And all of that together creates this incredible buffet of nectar and shelter that you just don't find in a neat and tidy field.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote from the research is absolutely mind-blowing. The very best of these human-made sites can be so rich in species that they support as many different kinds of invertebrates as an ancient, untouched woodland. I mean, think about that. That's just incredible.
All right, so we've got the theory, we've seen the examples, but what about the proof? Well, that survey in Sidmouth collected some hard numbers, and honestly, the results are staggering. It's the mic drop moment. Just look at that number, 64.1%.
Just let that sink in for a second.
So what on earth does that number mean? It means that these so-called brownfield sites, which make up less than a third of the land they looked at, are doing almost 2/3 of the work. They are punching way, way above their weight. They're not just land, they are biodiversity hotspots. Their value is absolutely massive. And if you break it down by group, it gets even more amazing. I mean, look at this. You can see just how deeply some wildlife depends on these places. For mammals, for birds, for flowering plants, these brownfield sites aren't just a nice to have. They are absolutely essential pillars holding up the local ecosystem. And you know, these aren't just abstract stats. Remember the Bays, that managed park by the river? It was home to an incredible 75 different species. These places aren't wastelands. No way. They are bustling, vibrant, living communities.
And here's the really important part. This isn't just a story about some town in the UK. This is a story about the hidden world that exists all around us. In our towns, in our cities, in our own neighborhoods, if we just know what to look for. So, I want you to start looking around your own area. You know these places. You walk past them every single day. As you can see right here, it's our local parks, the verges on the side of the road, old railway paths, cemeteries. These are our very own open mosaic habitats, our own hidden havens. So, next time you're out for a walk, take a closer look at these places that people have shaped. Instead of just seeing a patch of grass or some weeds, ask yourself, what secret stories does this place have to tell? And what amazing hidden nature is waiting right here, right under my nose?